I am very aware that the lighting is not great in this video. I don't feel like setting up a tripod right now. So, or should I just leave my hair down for this? Will I talk about this? Sure, it'll stay down. This will be, I'll have little clips running over of stuff I've done the past month. I just really, and I might make a Medium post about this too, even though I've never garnered any attention anywhere, but that kind of leads directly into what I want to talk about. Sorry if you hear a screaming baby, it's my neighbor's, definitely not mine. But I wanted to make a video talking about something that I've really done a 180 pivot on in comparison to the Stephanie from 5-6 years ago. And that's on why I gave up on the idea of becoming a YouTube star. So if you don't know, I've been on YouTube for a lot of years now. This channel started predominantly as a music channel when I was 16, my junior year, in 2015. And then starting in 2016, I started doing more stuff, you know, vlogs, travel vlogs, fashion, food, and I just loved the concept of creating content. If you've watched YouTube for a long time, you know that YouTube has changed. And unfortunately, I can't stomach watching YouTube anymore, and it makes me sad because it's something that was a part of my life for so long, but it doesn't make me feel good about myself to watch it anymore. And that's because YouTube has just completely changed from what it used to be. And anyone who's watched YouTube for a long time knows that. So basically, if you are super young or you didn't watch YouTube back in the 2010s, YouTube used to really be, what's the word I want to use? I don't know if censored is the right word, just not so. Maybe the better way to explain this is to explain why I gave up on my idea of being a YouTube star first. So, especially when I was 18, 16, 17, 18, I really hoped for my life that what would happen was I would become a pop sensation, that I would get a record deal, I would become the next Taylor Swift. That's what I always really, really wanted for myself. As I went to college and grew up, I realized life is not a fantasy. You don't get all of those wild dramatic fantasies, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a writer and I'm gonna travel and I'm gonna get to do music as a hobby and all my creative things as a hobby, and that's great. But I still always had this notion in my head that becoming famous was the answer, that something like YouTube was the answer to gain recognition, worldwide recognition, have, you know, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and that was my way to become wealthy and have money to do things like travel and buy a home, etc, etc. And I really just always viewed YouTube, like every time I put out a music video or something and it didn't go viral, I'd be disappointed because I saw it as that was my ticket into the world, to get to share my creativeness with the world, to become a name, because that's something I wanted. And I'm not gonna lie, a part of me still really wants that. It's something, you know, when I go, I really want people to read my book in a college classroom. And I really saw that as that was my way in to doing that. Now I'm 25, so obviously it's very different than a 16-year-old girl. It sounds very weird to say, but obviously very different than a 16-year-old girl who's starting YouTube. And the climate, the climate of social media has done a drastic turn since then and how it is. When I was 16, I think about this all the time now, you know, I didn't have TikTok or Instagram, you know, people use Snapchat, but it's not exactly the same. You know, social media didn't become as excessive as it really is today until I hit my 20s. I mean, even if it was in my late teens, I wasn't on it, so I didn't get the gist of how, for lack of a better word, bad it's become. Anyways, I really, you know, I remember coming home from Japan, meeting this family, and they're like, oh, you're gonna be a YouTube star, and I was like, God, I hope. Now I'm 25, and after the events, like just one kind of bad thing after the other, I've realized that it's not, I want it, but I don't want what comes with it. So for instance, I have people that still, they find me on Instagram, even though I don't use it anymore. It's private. I haven't deleted it because I just don't have, I don't have the heart to delete it yet, but I'm inactive on it. But I have people messaging me all the time on there, and you know, people are like, oh, do you want to meet up? And it's on one hand, I'm like, yeah, I'd like that, but also this sounds really odd considering I have a YouTube channel and I do love to talk and I love to tell stories, but I hate attention. I love attention from my really close friends and from people that really know me well, but I don't like attention from strangers. So I just don't, things like people wanting to chat with me one-on-one and develop a connection, it makes me feel very odd because that's not organic. And I'm very traditional, old school in so many things, and this is one of them. I don't find it as a conducive place to make a personal connection, because that's not what I've ever seen it as. I've seen it as for very superficial, or what's the word that when everyone says go touch some grass. Oh man, I'm blanking on the word right now. It's going to bother me.
One eternity later.
Parasocial relationship. I've always viewed, because that's what it is really. Even a YouTuber I've watched for years and years and years that shares every idiosyncratic personal detail of their life, I don't know them in person. I have no idea what they're like behind the camera. You have no idea what I'm like behind the camera unless you know me. As the, so back to why YouTube is so different today than it was back then. In 2016, yeah, there were travel vlogs, and I feel like even the beauty guru community, when they did travel vlogs, they, gave advice on where to go and things to do. Now it's very much talking about themselves, what they're eating, what they're buying. It has nothing to do with the place. Vlogs used to be going around and showing someone their day. Now vlogs are divulging really personal details about their lives, and people, it's kind of like a car crash, they want to look even if they have no need to look. And I tried to do that. I tried to do that with an artistic perspective, with my writer tone, and it wasn't translating well, no matter what I did, no matter how I did it on Instagram, no matter how I did it on here. And I don't regret any of that content, especially the ones on YouTube. There's some videos on YouTube that I like that I made, that I tried to do that. But I've just not, I was just raised with the notion that you don't talk about certain subjects with people. And a lot of the things that people talk about on YouTube, I don't have respect for it. So I think over time, especially the past few months, this year, I've really been offline for all of 2023. I've just lost, the dream has kind of died for me, because I don't find it appealing to have the world know my life story, and I don't find it appealing for people to contact me. And I understand that you can feel a connection with someone you watch on the screen, because I understand that. I used to feel that way too, but it's just, I don't know if I'm making sense. I've given up on the dream because I always liked the idea of becoming famous via YouTube, because it's fame without extreme fame. It's like Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner, they have no privacy while they go through their divorce right now. A YouTuber won't have complete privacy, but it's not to the extent that it's always in the media all the time, Like a YouTuber can go out in public and not be recognized. Yeah, they'll be recognized by some people, but it's a really nice 1 foot in, 1 foot out into the door of the world of fame. But I think while that's still appealing to me in a way, I don't like what YouTube has become. I don't like what has become tacitly compulsory to have a successful YouTube channel, which is to share a lot of intimate details of your life. And I think that's sad, because that's why society has lost so much value for telling cute stories, like the time I was 19 in Barcelona and the washing machine was going for an hour and a half and I had to leave my clothes on the terrace for the 3 days I was there for them to dry before I flew to Switzerland. Stories like that are just not seen or told. I'm not saying they don't exist, but they're saturated by other things that people click on, So like I said, I'm still making this channel. I'm still putting videos on here, when I travel. I really love to do that, but I've scaled back, and it's kind of sad because I've been very close to almost hitting 1K subscribers, and I think I could have had I still might, but I definitely probably would have hit at the end of the year if I kept posting the way I was used to posting the past few years, which is about once a week, once every other week. But it hasn't felt right to put my life online and for so many people to be able to dissect anything I say. And yeah, that's really why I've given up on my dream of becoming a YouTube star. And let's face it, YouTube is gonna die. No one's gonna become a YouTube star anymore, because there's TikTok and Instagram, and there's no attention span for anything. No one's gonna, if you made it to this point in the video, you're a rare breed. No one actually sits and watches long form content anymore. And I think I made a video about this in 2016, like why it's impossible to make. I don't remember the title of it, but I'll link it up here. How even in 2016 it was still really hard to break through on YouTube because all the people that had been there since YouTube's creation, you know, think of people like Janine Amapola, Jess and Gabriel, Lindsay Hughes, Remy Ashton, oh god, what's her friend's name? Alicia. All those people, they started just with makeup videos. If they didn't get on with makeup videos, they wouldn't have their platform. And they all know that. All those YouTubers know that. So, long story short, I've given up on my dream of being a YouTube star, and it was almost like a 10-year, no, shorter than that, a decade and a half maybe of a dream. Definitely peaked when I was 18, that I was really hoping I'd just break through on YouTube and that be my way into the world. Now I think what I'm dreaming about is getting to tell those really personal stories, but in ways that they don't vindicate me. So for instance, a book that I've had for a lot of years, I've re-edited over and over and over again. That's something I've dreamed about the past couple years, turning it into a Netflix show. That's a way for me to tell stories, but it to not, for me to not be the face of it, you know, because then there'd be actors and I write scripts and I could pick the songs and produce it and I could create the story without me being the brand of it, if that makes sense. Like even, it's really sad, but I get paranoid about sharing music. The last album I put out, I'm paranoid all the time that that's made things worse for me. But also then again, I don't know. I'm working out the new balance of how I'm going to create and still feel fulfilled, because in a lot of ways I haven't been satisfied this year because I haven't created, and that's my livelihood, is making music and writing and taking pictures and making videos and cooking in the kitchen and coloring, like anything that's artistic. That's the only thing that makes me feel fulfilled, and I haven't done a lot of it. More like a year and a half now, and that's because of a lot of fear, just fear and PTSD. But definitely through it, I've realized that YouTube is not the primary platform for me. It's gonna be things like writing books, and in my dreams really making a Netflix TV show out of some of the books that I've written. But yeah, I just wanted to share this video. I don't know how many other YouTubers feel this way, or if there are people who are still trying to make it on YouTube today. Comment down below, I'm really curious. So yeah, like and subscribe, because I will still put content on here. It's just gonna be more niche, not as overtly personal. There'll still be deep philosophical stuff, but it's just the content on here is changing a little bit. It's gonna be more stuff like Santorini versus Mykonos, something like that, a video like that that's done very well, that I can share my travel expertise, film videos, make thumbnails, all the stuff, and not be the face of a movement, for lack of a better word. Okay, this is a long video. I hope I can get it up tonight, but just wanted to share why I've given up on my dream of being a famous YouTuber, and it's fine. I like the idea of a quiet life now, where friends can't see what not even friends know what I'm up to. They have to call and text me, and I kind of like that. I kind of like pretending that I live in the 90s. Alright, see you guys soonish, next month when I go to Italy, which is a whole story how difficult that is, but you'll hear about it in the vlog. Alright, like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys really soon. Bye.